Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. I totally appreciate it. I, of course, am Lewis Porter Jr., and we're going to just get into it because today I'm talking about issue number 1 of Thunderbolts. So I'm going to say this is a review. I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but I'm going to talk about this book and what I liked about it and what I didn't like about this book, and give you my big numeric rating at the end. So first off, I've got to say up front, the writer of this book is Jim Zub. I know Jim Zub. I've interviewed him before, actually, on this channel about this, and I like Jim's work. I think Jim is solid. I think this is one of those kind of situations like, oh, this is a perfect book for him. I think this book with the artist Sean Izaakse, who is I think perfect for this. I think this is going to be a great team up. I hope they do more and more stuff like this. I think this is the kind of book they should do together. I think this is some really great work. So I'm going to start out by saying, yes, I like them. I like the book. I like this issue. What I also like about this, and this is going to be kind of weird for some people who won't get this, but I think the majority of you will be, this felt, when I was reading it, very much like the first issue of New Warriors back in the 90s. It felt like a very 90s done comic book. In the modern age of comics, you don't really see that very often. You actually had villains doing villainous things. You had the heroes doing hero things. You had everybody doing what they should have been doing. They also give you some background in the story in the middle of it, and it's just, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it thoroughly. It's the first issue. That's what I want to read. I don't know anything about the team, but of course Thunderbolts I do. But I don't know how this team got together. They explain that. How the people got on the team? They explain that. Did they give me some mysteries to think about for later issues? Of course. Guts and Glory. I gotta admit, it's a crazy name. I personally think, and it's supposed he's somebody we're all supposed to know, but it's kind of hidden. I'm gonna guess, and I've said before, I think he's Garrison Kane from the old 90s, because he has that kind of 90s-esque feel, and it's very Cable 90s, pouches and pockets everywhere kind of feel to it. I think that was a lot of fun. I like Persuasion being on the team. She's been in Alpha Flight and some other minor stuff. I think that she kind of fits on this team very well. The new Power Man's on the team. I tell you the truth, I always hoped the new Power Man and the new Iron Fist would team up and become the new Heroes for Hire. I think that could be kind of cool, but I digress. I think this is a good setup team for him. America Chavez is on the team. I don't like her or dislike her. I'm really very neutral to her. I did not like her on the Young Avengers. That's something totally different. That's a personal feel, but I think she fits a little better on this team. It makes a little more sense. Hawkeye being Hawkeye. Love Hawkeye, one of my favorite characters. And Captain Marvel, Spectrum now, because, see, I grew up in the 80s when she was Captain Marvel, and they snatched the name away from her and they moved it around. But I'm not going to get all upset about that, but I digress. It is an excellent first issue. A couple really good cliffhanger mysteries, like what's really going on. I appreciate that. I want to see more of it. I know I think it was supposed to be ongoing, but now it looks like it's going to be 5 issues to see if they get enough sales to be ongoing, because that's how we do Marvel these days. I really liked it. I really liked it a lot. I'm hoping to see more of it. I think more books need to be like this, because I'm big. I love comics, but I think of late they haven't really done a lot of good comic book things. They've done a lot of interpersonal, personal agenda stuff, but it's like, what happened to just classic superheroes and bad guys, and what goes on with that whole realm? Because with all this stuff going on in Marvel, like you've got this whole X-Men Eternal Avengers thing going on, the first thing that comes to mind, I'm like, well, what are the villains doing? What are the villains doing? There are tons of villains, and let's be honest, there are a lot of villains who aren't really doing anything. And I don't know. It's funny because I was like, what are the big bad villains doing? What is the Masters of Evil doing? What is Titania doing? And I'm like, then I realized, oh, that's right. Titania is actually appearing in She-Hulk's comic book with Jack of Hearts, which is actually a good read. If you're not checking that out, it's kind of interesting. A little different. I kind of like it a lot. So I think this is the great kind of book that you need right now. I think Marvel should do more books like this. I think you need to do more teams or books that are connected back to old characters that you can make new and do like the classic, this is how you get involved with them, this is how we get started, and let's tell good comic book stories. I don't want to tell anyone's agenda story. I don't care, black, white, straight, gay. Just tell me good comic book stories. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear good comic stories. I don't want people just pushing their agenda to push their agenda, because that's not what a good story is about. A good story is about beginning, middle, end. Beginning, middle, end. Let's tell those stories. Let's focus on that. Let's do those stories. And if you want to tell the other kind of stories, that's cool too, but don't make it every issue. I mean, Once again, what are the villains doing? You can't have a group of heroes with no villains working against them. That's what you need. Like Spider-Man recently they pulled up some very old classic, which most people would be like boring villains. Tombstone. Oh, that's been interesting. The Vulture. It's like they're getting these old Spider-Man villains that you know and doing really cool things with them. So I think this book will be in that same kind of level. Out of 1 out of 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the worst, I give it a solid 8. It's not a 9-10, but I don't think it's the best thing I've read. I think that's when you get to, it's the best thing I've ever read. 7 would be too low. I don't think it's like even 7.5. I think it's a strong 8 book. I think you'll pay your money for it. I got, of course, you saw the one cover I got. I got the variant cover. This cost $5. Am I happy with the price? No. Do I feel ripped off? No. Do I wish they'd do more books like this? Yes. Do I like a lot of stuff in this book? Yes. Do I like that Luke Cage is the mayor of New York and this is like a thing they're doing? Yes, I actually really like that a lot more than I thought I was going to. And I like how he ties in the team very well. I think this is a great idea. I hope that Jim Zub and John Isaacs get a long time to work on this. You know how Marvel is. Let's hope they get the 5 issues. If you're not picking it up, do it a favor. Go to newsstand. How old am I? Go to a comic book store and pick it up. I think you'll enjoy it. And, I'll say it again as I always say it. If this doesn't work out for them, I'm hoping both Jim and Sean, I'm hoping you hear me, do an Alpha Flight book. Figure out how to do an awesome Alpha Flight book. I want you guys to do an Alpha Flight book. I think what you did on this book would translate very well to Alpha Flight. So please have it in the back pocket. I just want to see more cool stuff. What can I say? So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Do me a huge favor. Click on the like below if you like what we talked about. Click on the dislike if you dislike what we talk about. Leave us a comment if you want to call me names. I'm good with that. Or if you want to tell me I'm great, I'm good with that too. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and I will talk to you all later.